jumped out of the car in the middle of the intersection. He was running amok around the street. I did manage to catch him and get him back in, but it was at that point I decided I'm going to train this dog, and that's never going to happen again because I was very embarrassed. I was worried about him getting hurt. So I took him through 2 basic obedience classes at a local park, and then I got so interested in it, and he was doing so well, that I went through open and utility obedience. I competed all over Southern California with him. We won a lot of ribbons and a lot of trophies, and that's a good way to get your hooked in obedience. And I showed him, and so that's where my interest in dog training began. Now I actually train people's dogs and people for a living. What dog training is, simply, is assigning a word to an action and then trying to get the dog, using whatever method, to associate that word with that action and then perform that action reliably. 2 of the oldest methods used are known as the collar and leash and reward training. They're still around. They're still used big time. And there's advantages and disadvantages to both. I like to use a combination of both because of those advantages and disadvantages. Collar and leash produces really reliable results. And what I mean by reliable is that if I tell a dog to sit, he's going to sit every time I tell him to sit. Reward training is a disadvantage because if I don't have food in my hand and that's the only way I train my dog, if I don't have food, he's going to go, yeah, right, I'm not sitting, that kind of thing. So I use both of them together to get a reliable result. One good reason for training your dog is because it makes the dog understand where he fits in your family pack, because he knows what's expected of him and he knows what you want. It's a form of communication between you and your dog. And if you knew that the statistic that the #1 reason dogs are taken to the pound is because they have some bad behavior that their owners can no longer tolerate, so that dog ends up in the pound. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to teach a dog to sit. And then we're going to have a little bit of fun. I'm going to demonstrate to you how to show your dog, how to teach your dog a couple of tricks. One based on a natural behavior that he probably does every day, and one based on an action that's not a natural behavior of the dog. So, with no further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Bacardi. Appropriate name, don't you think? If I was going to use the collar and leash method to teach him to sit, I would just pull up on the collar and push down on his rear end. Sit. Good boy. Good sit. I reinforced by saying good sit. I repeated the command. I tell him he's good. That's his reward. Okay? But if you can imagine a 100-pound dog, a 150-pound dog, you think I want to be sitting there going, just sit. Because some dogs just aren't going to do what you tell them to do. So when I teach a new action, I always use reward method because I use it as a lure. Stand up. Stand up. Okay, Bacardi, you put it by their nose and you bring it back like this, and they relax their rear end. It's easy. Piece of cake. Use that. Good sit. I'll show you that one more time. Stand up. This is my 100-pound dog. But first you say their name. Bacardi, sit. Good sit. You give them the reward. Good sit. And reward them. There are the steps to teaching sit, or any obedience command. There's 6 of them, by the way. Sit, stand, down, stay, heel, and the recall, come. So this is just one of the basic ones that you would want to use. If you don't teach your dog anything else, teach him to sit. If you have an excited dog that jumps on you when you get home, teach him to sit, and then when you come in the door, make him sit, and that's when he gets attention. He doesn't get any attention if he jumps on you. He might get a knee in the chest, but he's not going to get any attention. So it's kind of a calm down command too. You notice also you can use toys. Toys are used for rewards. I had one dog I trained that didn't like any treat I bought him, but he had this one football in the backyard that he absolutely loved, and so that's what I trained him with for the whole month. First, teaching your dog a trick from a natural behavior. Now, Bacardi loves to talk. He barks when he's frustrated, he barks when he wants something. So you just provoke that behavior. Bacardi, what do I got for you? What are you going to do for it? Huh? What are you going to do for it? Speak. 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 Say hi to everybody. Speak. What I did was, every time, I knew he was going to bark if I provoked it, or do it with a toy. I knew he would bark, and so I just gave a word to that action, and then after repetition, he associated it with that action. He also is a jumper. He loves to jump, so I just gave him the word jump to that action. What do you, not really toy motivated tonight. The firepower, the cheese. Bacardi, jump. That wasn't a jump. Bacardi, jump. Good boy. So that's teaching them something that you do automatically. If you have a dog that paws, you can teach them shape really easily. Just tell them shape. And when he does his paw, hold on to it and go, good boy, good shape. Now, I'm going to show you how to teach a trick that's not a natural behavior. To do this one, first you have to know sit and you have to know down. Sit, down. You're holding your hand right here so he doesn't get up. You keep the food in front of his mouth and you say crawl. No, crawl. Good boy. It's kind of slippery. He does it better on the floor. I don't know if you can see. Bacardi. Sit. Sit. One other thing I do, I use hand signals. You know, dogs in a pack, everything's body language. And so why not use a hand signal while I'm teaching him a command? Because then if you're in a noisy situation or a place where you need to be silent, he'll respond to a hand signal. And although he's not responding right now, sit. Sit. Let's sit. Down. Crawl. No, crawl. No, crawl. Good crawl. Good crawl. Now, when you teach something like that, if he even gives you a half an inch, that's good. And then you go from that half an inch to an inch, and then you go from an inch to 5 inches. My goal with him is to have him across the room and be able to just do this, and he'll crawl all the way to me. But right now, we're at the beginning stage. I just taught him that just for this speech. So, at any rate, what I've showed you tonight is how to teach your dog how to sit, how to teach two tricks, one based on an action that the dog does naturally, the other on a behavior that is not natural to the dog. And it's fairly simple. All you need is time and patience. Anybody can teach their dog to do tricks or be obedience trained. And if they are obedience trained, you could prevent things like happened to me in the intersection back when I was 16 years old. And more importantly, if you have a happy dog, you have a happy owner. And that means no pounds, and what better gift could you give to a little thing like this?